Hi girls, it's Miss Madison. So today we're going to do a fun little experiment where we're going to make some 3D paint, and we're going to talk a little bit about texture and what that means when we think about art. So this is what the foamy paint will look like once it's done. And to make this with us, you're just going to need some shaving cream. It can be white or it can have color in it, it doesn't matter. You're going to need school glue. You're going to need paint if you want to add color, or you can use food coloring, both will work. You're going to need a cup to mix it in, and you're going to need a plastic baggie, a pair of scissors, and whatever surface you want to paint on it. I'm just using a piece of construction paper for that. So before we make our paint, we're going to talk a little bit about texture and how that works in art. So we're going to look at just this plain piece of paper and think for a little bit about what the texture kind of looks like when you just look at the paper. So looking at the paper, I think it's going to feel like paper because I know what paper feels like, which is the implied texture, and the actual texture is of course paper. When you look at the foamy paint, it's three-dimensional, it's lifted up, so it kind of gives off a different texture. So its implied texture to me, I feel like it looks like it could almost be solid by now. Maybe it's a little bit sticky, I'm not sure how creamy it is. But if I were to dip my finger in it, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to make a mess, it would actually be foamy and it would puff up. So when looking at art, there are two different kinds of textures. There's implied texture, which is where we make it look like it's one texture. So this looks very shiny. And actual texture is when it looks like the texture that it actually feels like. This paper, for example, its actual texture is paper, and it looks like it would feel like paper. And in art, you can use texture to create, to differentiate between different forms despite them having the same color. And that's what I'm going to show you with this construction paper today. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your cup, your shaving cream, and your glue. And I'm not going to make a lot of this, but if you want to make a lot of it, you just need to add more. But no matter how much you add, you need to have equal parts glue and shaving cream. So if I add a cup of shaving cream, I'm going to add a cup of glue. So there's my shaving cream, and I'm actually just going to pour the glue right on top of it. Okay, I've added my glue, and I want it to be kind of a darker red, so I'm going to put a lot of paint in there. And again, if you don't have paint, you can just use food coloring for this. And then you're just going to mix that all together. Okay, so you're going to want it, when you lift your spoon up that you mixed it with, you're going to want to see it drip down like this. And if it drips down too quickly, if it pours down, then you need to add more of the thicker material. And I say thicker because it might be a little bit different. The shaving cream that I used was actually thick shaving cream, so it's thicker than the glue. So usually the shaving cream will make it thicker, but if you have thin and light shaving cream, your glue might actually be what's making it thicker. So you may have to play around a little bit to get it to drip like this, but it should just trickle down slowly like that. And the fun part of this is now going to be pouring it into this bag. If you've ever piped icing onto a cake, we're going to be doing the exact same thing. So you're just going to hold the bag open, or have an adult help you hold the bag open and pour in the paint that you just made. Please make sure that you do this over some kind of plate, especially if you're doing it by yourself, because it can get a little messy. And have a napkin with you in case you need to wipe it off of your hands, because this is glue and it will stick to things. Okay, so all I've done is put it into this, and then I've twisted the top of the bag like it's a piping bag. So you can see it's just twisted like that so that it's tight. And then you're going to want to cut the tip of it and do this over top of a cup. So probably the same cup you used to mix, because a little bit of it is going to come out when you first cut the end. And then to paint with it, you're just going to move it across your paper. It'll come out on its own. But if you want to make a thicker line, you squeeze the bag. And if you want to make a thinner line, you stop squeezing the bag. And I'm going to go ahead and make some lines on the paper, and then we can talk about texture again. Okay, here's my little painting, and what I want you to notice most is that even though the paint that I made and the paper are really close in color, you can still tell the difference because the paper has a different texture than the paint that we made. And that's how people that make monochromatic paintings, which is a painting that is all in one color, usually differentiate. Our eyes are able to tell the difference between two textures, and to us that makes them two different objects. So that's how texture is used in art. As far as cleaning up this paint goes, if you get it on you, it'll come off with warm soapy water. And I would leave your painting out for a couple hours to dry because this is mixed with glue and shaving cream. It's going to take a good bit to dry. Bye girls, I hope you enjoyed this super quick activity about texture, and if you made anything really super neat, I want you to send me a picture and show me what you made with the foamy paint. Bye!